How you doing, CNN World? Anthony back with another episode. Sorry about all the darkness. I promise it's not 12 o'clock at night. It's just that daylight savings, it's only 5:30 in the afternoon and it is night already. It's crazy. But anyways, let's get into it. This is episode 6, part 3. This one's going to be called Joy. The reason being is because not every single situation on the wheelchair was negative. Yes, I talked about the trials, about the tribulations that I experienced, and about all the falls and setbacks, except for the very last setback that I had, which that one was actually a hip replacement, and that was in 2014. I went to the doctor. He said I had grew a bone that was long that would be touching my femur bone, so I couldn't sit correctly because of the fact that I had to hyperextend my left leg so they wouldn't touch. So what he did, that he explained to my sister, was he chopped it off and then he put the hip replacement in there. And that made it way better and it took away the pain. And that was the last setback that I had, because from there, I still remember I had the mindset that I was like, I got to get back up. I'm going to work 200% to get back up. And I had that mindset that I was like, I'm going to move on to a walker. And that's when I got the mentality that I was like, I got to move on to a walker. And I started working hard. I started going to therapy. I would count every single step of how much steps I would take. The therapist would always, count up my steps and see how better, if I do better and better. And then from there, I end up remembering also that as far as being in the wheelchair, I still made gold out of it, There was times when I went to like SeaWorld. I remember my mom eating this big old turkey leg, and she was devouring it. I also remember we saw the Shamu show or the Free Willy show or whatever it's called. But we saw that show. That was awesome too. I remember that it was trained by the trainers to do different things. When he goes like this, he gave the whale a sign. And that apparently that sign meant go ahead, go around, take out your fin, and throw water at everybody. Well, when that happened, I remember getting some sprinkles, and I was like, "Whoa, yo!" And then when I looked to the left, my niece ends up getting hit, and she just starts crying a river. And later on, thank God, my mom calmed her down, and at that point, we enjoyed the rest of the stay there, and we had a good time. Also, I remember going to EDC 2015. First day was me, my brother, my sister, and my cousin. And we had a great time. My brother pushed me around like nothing. We had a really good, awesome experience. And then from there, the next 2 days, I went with just me, my sister, and my cousin. We had a good time. And I ain't gonna lie, I took advantage of my situation, and I would go around and look for pretty girls, and I would tell them like, hey, you wouldn't want to take a picture with me? All with the pity face and everything, knowing that they're going to look at me like, well, he's disabled and I don't really want to take a picture, but yeah, sure, let's do it, and I would take advantage of that. And we would go take a picture, and literally it wouldn't lead to nothing. It was no reason to do it. And I went around and did it, and took advantage of the situation of being on the wheelchair. And then from there, I had a great time. There was so much different things that we ended up doing there. I couldn't do much, but I did enjoy the music and the atmosphere. And not only that, but I remember everybody was really, really awesome and amazing. At one point, I remember my cousin pushing me, and literally he ran over somebody's foot, and I was like, oh, and I felt like, oh, that's bad. And at that point, he looks up and he's like, oh, sorry, man, sorry. And the guy, he looks like, oh, no, you good, man, you good. Peace and love. At that point, I'm like, what? I would have been pissed off. I'm like, I would have not been cool with that. But everybody was there, was really humble and cool and kind. And that was the last night, and that was when we were walking out like at 5 in the morning. Anybody that's been to EDC knows about that. And when we walked out, it was an awesome experience. I had a great time, and I have no regrets. Also, I mean, I also remember I would still go out, like I say, still go out, party, go with my brother and my sister, go drinking, go clubbing, and I had a lot of fun doing that. But that's because it got me away from depression. It made me feel that I was still like everybody else. It made me feel that that I wasn't, being left behind. That I was still living life like everybody else. And in those situations, I would still take advantage and ask girls that I thought were pretty or that I thought were cute, and I'd be like, "Hey, let's take a picture. You want to take a picture of me?" And of course, they're gonna say yes, because again, like I say, I'm disabled, and of course, they're gonna be like, "Well, let's just be nice," and they would take a picture with me. But from there, I took a picture with various of girls and different girls and different places that I went, that I still remember, which wasn't bad. It was really fun. And the whole reason for the Christmas hat is because we are in the season, and this is the Raiders one. And that's because I've always been a Raider fan. I've always been supporting them ever since 2005. And the sad part is that they haven't even brought me a ring yet. But I'm not losing hope or faith. But anyways, on to the testimony. So yes, there was a lot of joy being on the wheelchair, and I want to talk about those moments because I want to show everybody that the situation that you're in is in the mindset that you think about it. So if you're thinking about your situation as, this is the worst thing ever, I'm never going to be able to change it, my life sucks, then yes, it does. Your life sucks. If you're thinking about it like, man, this sucks that this happened to me, I can't live like everybody else, but maybe I could do something to change it or to embrace it and to still be able to live like them, or to still be able to get out of this situation. Because there was a lot of times when I was working hard to try to get out of the wheelchair. I was working hard to try to get onto the walker. I was pushing it 200%, like I say, to move on to the next level, because I wasn't comfortable in the wheelchair. And like I say, ever since I got that mentality of I wasn't born on a wheelchair, so I'm not going to die in a wheelchair, I was working hard to get up. And I ended up achieving. And I ended up moving on to the walker. And doing that made me feel way more better, because I'm like, I could go everywhere easier now. Everybody doesn't have to struggle with me. I don't have to be a burden for them to be taking me places. And on top of that, finally, it came to the situation where I was on that walker 8 years, and I just moved forward from it. And that's the reason I'm sharing my testimony, because I want to show everybody that you don't have to live miserable. You could make a good outcome from a nasty situation that you're given. All right. But this is episode 3. This is joy. Go ahead, like the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't. All right. Anthony out, and stay tuned for the next one, episode 4.